Okay. I heard you. I've read the comments. Some of you were a little miffed at our first look at the Blackberry Z10 on myfoxla.com and of course on our YouTube channel at myfoxla, the username there of course. But we have an in-depth review where we're actually going to show you the apps, show you that Remember app that some of you told me about was connected with Evernote, which I didn't talk about in the first look because it wasn't the Evernote app. But we are actually going to take a full look at that app. We're going to look at some of the core apps. We're going to look at some of the features of this phone, and we're going to take a look in depth. So hang tight, check this out. The first thing we're going to look at here are the core apps and some of the core features of this Blackberry Z10. First, one of the things I really enjoy about this phone is instead of clicking the power button up top to wake up the screen, you can actually just swipe up from the bottom and it wakes up the phone. So no longer having to grab the phone and reach around to wherever the button is. We can all be even lazier with activating our devices and just swipe up on the screen. And actually it's not lazy. Honestly, I just consider that good design, and that's just a very intuitive way to handle that. One of the items I really like about this is when you're in an app full screen, let's say we're in the browser here, when you move away from the browser by flicking up, it actually takes you to a screen that shows all your open and currently running apps, which you can easily close by tapping an X. What some BlackBerry users may miss is that you used to be able to have some of your calendar events on the home screen. Well, with the calendar app, you'll actually see your next couple events or so in the running tile of open apps on this screen. The screen scrolls up and down to show you all your open apps, allowing you to multitask and switch between them. Let's get into the core apps, though, of this phone. You've got your contacts, your browser, your calendar, text messages, BlackBerry World. Then obviously you have your various picture messaging and various other apps. And the Remember app. The Remember app is BlackBerry's new task app, essentially. It is, in my opinion, missing a couple items such as reminders, but one of the things that it does do is tie into your Evernote account for those of you who are Evernote users. I use Evernote myself to plan some of the stories we do here, some of the stories I do to organize them, and it does a really good job actually of keeping the data intact. The only issue I have with this is for those Evernote entries that have pictures attached to them, let's say this one here, you actually just get it as an attachment. So you don't actually see it in line, the picture in line in the body of the entry like you do with the actual Evernote app. You're going to see that as an attachment. But you still are able to capture picture, sound, and add attachments directly through the app. So not bad. Like I said in my previous review, I'm a big fan of the actual app itself, but if you had to look at something that's been integrated, it's not a bad implementation of Evernote integration. One of the other apps that you're going to look at that many of you will be using will be the calendar. The calendar in this phone is really good. BlackBerry calendars have not always been the most awesome right out the gate, but this one, not bad. You have your calendar up top along with your agenda items or your items for that day at the bottom of the screen. You can look at your calendar in day, week, or month views. You can search entries using the headings, subjects, participants, locations, and notes. So you have some fairly powerful search functionality there. Now, something that many people rely on nowadays is their mapping application, and Blackberry Maps would be no different. Blackberry Maps, I'm not a huge fan. I really wish they would have gone with Google Maps for this. Some of the items I've tried to find in my neighborhood, both where I live and where I work, don't come up. I've looked for grocery stores, I've looked for some of the restaurants in my area, and they don't come up. I assume that will be remedied over time as this application is updated and becomes more robust. But today, when you jump on that app, you may be missing some items that you're going to be looking for. That said, you do have navigation. You do have the ability to actually see traffic. You can add home, you can add work, add favorites. Um, if you want to get into the features for any program, as you saw me, I swiped down from the top of the screen. That'll take you to the settings menu. It's context aware, so it's going to know that you're in a specific application and bring up the settings for that particular application. So that's Blackberry Maps. Out of the box, you will see the YouTube app, or what looks like the YouTube app, show up on your home screen here. What that really is, though, is just a link to the mobile YouTube website. So you don't actually have the actual YouTube app. There is no YouTube app for Blackberry 10 today, but this will take you right to the mobile YouTube webpage. And to be quite honest with you, the mobile YouTube webpage is pretty darn good. So again, you don't have a native app, but you do have access to the mobile YouTube page. So it's really just a shortcut instead of an actual app. Next, we have Twitter. Twitter is one of the core apps. It's actually on the phone when you get it. When I received the phone, it actually needed an update. So I couldn't actually see my direct messages when I first cracked open this BlackBerry. So what you may want to do when you open up this BlackBerry, when you take it out, after you create your BlackBerry World ID, is look for an update to the Twitter app, to the Blackberry 10 Twitter app, and that update will add the DM inbox to your phone. One of the issues I've had is when I go into the DM inbox, as you can see here, it doesn't actually show me all my messages. It allows me to send a new message. So I don't actually get to see all my threads or my message threads, my DMs there. So still, you know, again, this is a newer operating system, a newer OS, so it does have some shortcomings. I'm sure those will be remedied again as the operating system matures and as these apps mature. You can see even here in the settings, you can't add extra accounts, so that's one of the other drawbacks. If you have more than one Twitter account, you won't be able to access that through the stock Twitter app. Facebook, you also have the stock Facebook app. Not bad at all. Pretty good implementation. For those of you who are admins on Facebook pages, just so you know, if you click that, you actually will not be able to access those Facebook pages. So again, if you're an admin on a Facebook page, that's something you're going to want to know. You can't actually access those pages as admin from this Facebook app on the BlackBerry. Other than that, you can update your status, add a photo, check in. You pretty much have the features that most people are going to use already in the app. And unlike the DM issue I ran into with Twitter, all your messaging is there for you to access on the Facebook app here on the BlackBerry, on Blackberry 10. One app that I really like, being kind of a digital creative, if you will, is the StoryMaker app. The StoryMaker app is just what it sounds like. It is an app that is going to allow you to take and edit videos. This is essentially akin to, let's say, iMovie for iPhone. So you're going to be able to take pictures, take videos, and actually edit them into a story. This is the initial screen when you go into the Movies app. I already created a little slideshow, a little movie here out of some photos I took. As you can see, it has some front plate options, some slates so that you can actually add some characters. You can put text in the body of your movie. I just didn't. The learning curve is fairly short on this, so you should be able to actually pick it up pretty quickly and be able to then take and you can see you can reorder your slides or your videos. You can control the duration of those slides or videos. with these simple markers. So like I said, actually I was quite impressed with this particular app in terms of just being able to on the fly create content. I could see bloggers and various people using something like this to create short videos from conferences or any other event that they might be covering to upload to YouTube. So bravo, kudos to the folks at BlackBerry for creating actually a very well thought out editing application to allow people to share digital content. And for all you BlackBerry users out there, finally, the browser does not suck. We all know that the browser on the BlackBerry has been the bane of our existence for those who stuck with BlackBerry for some time. It just was not all that usable, but it is actually quite usable now. It's actually somewhat a joy to use in comparison to the previous iterations of browsers. It'll load web pages fairly quickly. This is the mobile version, of course, of our web page of myfoxla.com. Let's go to the full site. So compared to previous iterations of the BlackBerry browser, this is fantastic. This web page looks pretty much like it would look like on your desktop. So they've done a great job of creating a browser that renders the web beautifully. This screen is beautiful to begin with, so you get a vibrant browser, you get a vibrant pictures, vibrant web that pops and looks great when you visit pretty web pages where people have taken the time to actually create some engaging content. With this web browser, you can open up multiple tabs by clicking down here on the left and adding new tabs. You can close tabs by tapping the X. So it's really simple to navigate into this browser. There are your bookmarks there. Intuitive. Well done. This model actually came to us by way of AT&T. They've kept the bloatware down on this device. Definitely something that's a big positive. I personally don't like getting devices where the carriers added 14 of their own apps to the device. AT&T's done a pretty good job here of keeping the bloatware to a minimum. And while we're on the screen, let's jump into the camera. I do have to tell you the camera on this phone is not great. It takes decent pictures. They're not bad. You know, if the lighting conditions are right, the pictures will actually look pretty good. In low lighting, not so much. So you will get some good vibrant colors. Again, not bad, but definitely when you look at the Lumia 920, when you look at even my Galaxy Note 2 that I've been using, there are better cameras out there, but I'll give BlackBerry a pass on that one because they've actually done a pretty doggone good job with a lot of the other software on the device. One of the things that BlackBerry does really well that I really enjoyed about this phone is they allowed you to connect to other services, but then integrate those connections directly into the operating system. You can connect to your Dropbox folder, but unlike other devices where you'll now have to go to an app icon to access those files, with this phone, once you've connected Dropbox, you'll actually go into the file manager, and there's where you'll see all your various folders, or if you have a micro SD card, that'll show up. So you'll have all your folders, your various folders you can access directly in the file manager. So it's a great thing. It's very cool to be able to actually have that kind of integration. So you're actually using the parts of the operating system that you're familiar with rather than having to pull in a bunch of different apps and access each app. Now there's always a trade-off with that because the app developer is going to build in native functionality into that app, and you don't always get that when that's integrated into the core of an operating system unless the apps are made by the people who also make your operating system. Then you might see that core, that functionality of the app. But in this case, Dropbox, BlackBerry, not the same company. You may actually wind up with less functionality in the Dropbox app. But again, it is still a pretty doggone good integration with Dropbox into the core operating system. Now, if you want to, now with BlackBerry 10, if you want to access any of the features of the phone, the settings, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, turn that on. That's done with a pull-down shade from the top. From there, you can turn on Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, set an alarm, change the notifications, which you can also do on the rocker here. You can go into the settings, turn on rotation lock, all from the top. So again, that's the notification shade. And again, remember that if you're inside an app, that notification shade then turns into the settings for that app. So, you know, I actually really like this device. I really like the operating system. I really like the way they've implemented some of the features, but I still stand by my impressions, my first impressions, that I don't know that this is the device that's going to save the company, but that's okay. There doesn't necessarily have to be a first place for BlackBerry. It can fight with Windows Phone for a third place, and you just never know what's going to happen with these things. You have some new phones coming out, or some new operating systems. We're going to see Ubuntu. There are just so much on the horizon. But I will say this, and I'm sorry, Windows Phone users, you're going to be mad at me now. This is definitely a better first effort than Windows Phone 7. Sorry. I'm Tashaka Armstrong for myFOX Tech, myfoxla.com.